Hello, welcome to the second time of the midweek mini lesson. We are in Colossians still, Colossians 1 verses 15. We're going to go till verse 23. And it starts this way. He is the image of the invisible God. We're talking about Jesus here. He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. For by him all things are created. That's really cool because we think of like in the beginning God created. It says by Jesus all things are created. Things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities, all things were created by him and for him. So not only did God create all things, not only did Jesus create all things, but they were all created for the purpose of Jesus. He is before all things, and in him all things hold together. If you remember this past week, I mentioned about laminin. Laminin is the cross-shaped thing inside of us that literally holds our cells together. It's kind of like the glue of biology. Verse 18. Sorry, there's cars. Verse 18, and he is the head of the body. He is the head of the body, the church. So Christ is the head, the church is the body. Right now, I think, and this is kind of a sad story, I guess, but right now we have a perfect head and a weak and decrepit body. And I think God is waiting for the body, the church, to become in equal proportion to its head. Keep it going with 18. He is the beginning and the firstborn from among the dead, so that in everything he might have the supremacy. Verse 19, for God was pleased to have all his fullness dwell in him. That is amazing thought. All of God's fullness dwelt in Jesus. And if all of God's fullness dwells in Jesus, and Jesus is in us, then all of God's fullness is also in us. Verse 20, and through him to reconcile to himself all things, whether things on earth or things in heaven, by making peace through his blood shed on the cross. Once you were alienated from God and were enemies in your minds because of your evil behavior. But now he has reconciled you by Christ's physical body through death to present you holy in his sight, without blemish and free from accusation. That right there is the whole story of salvation. It says that, again, I'll start in verse 21. Once you were alienated from God, you were a sinner, you were alienated from God, and were enemies in your minds because of your evil behavior. But now, but now, he has reconciled you by Christ's physical body through death. He reconciled you through Christ's death to present you, this is the purpose of it, to present you holy in his sight, without blemish, and free from accusation. If you're a believer, you are holy, you are without blemish, and you are free from accusation. Verse 23, if you continue in your faith, established and firm, not moved from the hope held out in the gospel, this is the gospel that you heard, and that has been proclaimed to every creature under heaven, and of which I, Paul, have become a servant. So that's the midweek mini lesson for today and this week. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week. Bye.